This episode of the D-Lew podcast is brought to you by Happy Wrap. You ever wanted to design your very own gift wrapping paper? Now is your chance to do so. Whether it's for the holiday season, weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, no matter what the occasion calls for, you can use Happy Wrap to wrap your gifts. As a matter of fact, you can even design notebooks, greeting cards, gift tags, and so much more. You can sign up today at happy.thedlewpodcast.com and use the promo code DLEW to get your 10% discount at checkout. Again, that's happy.thedlewpodcast.com and use promo code DLEW to get your 10% discount at checkout. By Simpler Hair Color. Hey guys, are you tired of using that drugstore hair dye brand that isn't getting the job done? If you want to use a great product to cover those grays, have no fear, Simpler Hair Color is here. No mixing, no dripping, no mess. It's super easy to use, whether you're a beginner or a pro. Go to simpler.thedlewpodcast.com and use promo code DLEW10 for your 10% discount at checkout. Again, that's simpler.thedlewpodcast.com and use my promo code DLEW10 for your 10% discount at checkout. And by WWE Shop with Fanatics. Get your favorite WWE Superstars merchandise and wear them proud with superstars like the OTC Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, the Second City Saint CM Punk, John Cena, Main Event Jey Uso, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, and so many more. Oh, by the way, they got some really cool championship belts in there as well. So go to wrestling.thedlewpodcast.com. Again, that's wrestling.thedlewpodcast.com so you can go to WWE Shop with Fanatics. This podcast is a Believe Network and Siete production. Another edition of the D-Lew podcast brought to you by Believe Network. I'm your host, Derrick T. Lewis. I hope this week is treating you all wonderfully. You know, the matriarch of the D-Lew podcast, Gabi, is back, and she's going to talk about all that's been going on in the WWE for the last week or so. Of course, this past Friday's Smackdown, where it got a little crazy with The Rock and Cody Rhodes. We're going to talk about that. Of course, this past week's Monday Night Raw, and this coming weekend's Elimination Chamber that's taking place in Toronto, Canada. Let's not wait any longer. The Elimination Chamber preview show with me and Gabi starts right now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, after just a few weeks away, of course, I had to knock some interviews out, and it was really cool. But of course, there is no D-Lew podcast without the matriarch of this show, the one and only Gabi. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I can't believe it. It's WrestleMania season. The road is a little bumpy, and a lot's happened. Oh my God.
A lot has happened since we've spoken last. Yes.
Yeah. So we have to talk about that a little bit. So first and foremost, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, sir?
We're keeping on. That's what we do. So that's all I can say about that. But of course, this Saturday at in Toronto, Canada, at the Rogers Center, formerly known as the Toronto Skydome, is the Elimination Chamber. I can't believe we're this close to WrestleMania already, but lots happened, and we're going to get right into it. I want to piggyback to SmackDown this past Friday night. Obviously, it was announced, was it Wednesday or Thursday, that The Rock was going to show up. And I'm thinking, this is interesting, and that he had put out a cryptic tweet, or not so much a tweet, but it was a post on all of his social media, and it was a picture of a Rolex. Mm-hmm. And it was saying, he has somebody he has to see. And it was Cody. He said, see you Friday. So, of course, he comes out. And if you smell, then, of course, The Block is Hot by Lil Wayne is playing. Of course, they're in New Orleans.
Nice touch. I like it.
Nice touch. And, well, considering, the Super Bowl was a few weeks ago. And, of course, Lil Wayne had his concerns about not being a part of the festivities, which, again, is totally understandable. Him being a New Orleans native, felt it should have been him instead of Kendrick Lamar. Neither here nor there. I don't want to touch that beef. But The Rock comes out to that. And then, of course, his final boss theme, he's going to the ring. And I was figuring, okay, he's definitely announcing that WrestleMania is going to be in New Orleans next year.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that was the case. WrestleMania 42 was going to be in New Orleans. That is going to be April 11th and 12th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday and Sunday, 2 days, of course, at the Caesars. I was calling it the Mercedes Superdome for a while, but Mercedes now has the official licensing rights to the one in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
but where the Falcons play, but the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. So this is the third time that WrestleMania is going to be in New Orleans, and this isn't a matter, if you think when that time does come, in 12 years. That's crazy. That I was very, very surprised that they were going to go back so soon, but I just think because of the impact that they made into the community, the amount, and these cities are bidding for WrestleMania these days. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, whoever's going to offer the best package, WWE is going to come running, and that's
Mm-hmm.
just how it is. But he talks about that, and he goes from Dwayne Johnson to the final boss. Kind of, kind of a little bipolar there, a little bit.
Oh, weird.
Just a tad, a little passive aggressive. And he was saying that there was somebody that he had to see. And of course, it was the WWE champion Cody Rhodes. Cody comes out and he's talking about how, Cody kind of ruined last year's plans of WrestleMania. It was supposed to be me and Roman Reigns. And of course, you ruined it. Then, of course, you slapped me in my face. And he goes into this thing, and it was almost like a lean in moment, because I'm like, what is he talking about? And he's talking about, I want you to be my champion. And I'm thinking, are we going to the heel boss thing again? Are we remaking Austin McMahon? And he says something that was really, really eerie. He said, I want that. And Cody's like, no, because first he was saying, I don't have to be your champion, where I'm their champion. And I'm sure that was a nice touch of him being now the people's champion. I think it's safe to say Cody's the people's champion. He's the
Mm-hmm.
people's choice. And The Rock points at the championship. He's like, I want that. And he was like, what, you want the WWE championship? And he said, no, I want your soul. I was just like, is this pro wrestling's version of the Illuminati? I mean, what the hell's going on here, man?
It got weird really quick.
It got really, really weird. So I need some insight from you on your thoughts watching it as it happened, because for me, again, it's one of those moments where they're not chanting what, they're not chanting, see, they're just, the fans are just listening. That's what first. That's a true master. When you could control a crowd,
Mm-hmm.
when they're not doing those stupid chants, that means you got them.
Yeah.
So I could say that's a positive, but I need clarity from you on what your thoughts were right from the start.
So I was kind of over it before it even started, because why? I mean, because you're going to have a presser afterwards. Like, I was very much like, what are we doing, guys? You took away like time from in ring, and the problem is too is that The Rock never cuts a 2 minute promo.
Right,
It's
right.
always going to be a 45-minute thing. He's always going to drop some language that censors are going crazy over. Like, it's just never what it's supposed to be, which is kind of problematic. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing just got weird. Like, I want your soul, and I don't know. If the goal was to sell tickets to Mania, sure, but I think we could have done that differently. I don't know. It was very much giving like last minute promo instead of like a thoughtful situation. But also, that's a problem with The Rock in general. Like, he always just pops up and throws himself in things. It's like, thank you for ruining 6 months of a storyline. It's when you beat up Cody 20 minutes ago. I don't know. Just going back to that
Right.
before. It's just like, he just shows up and like screws up timelines.
Well, I mean, he also said, I don't want to answer now,
Mm-hmm.
but I will be in Toronto this Saturday for Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my thoughts on where this is going. I need your thoughts first on where you think this is going to go, because something's happening. what it is, we may be right, or it could be something out of complete left field that we weren't expecting. Go ahead.
So is it supposed to be like the corporation type thing, and then CM Punk inserts himself in some type of way, and like I don't really. That's all I got for that is that we turn into like the corporate champion, and CM Punk is like, what is happening? Destroys them, calls in his favor, turns down The Rock, turns down all of them. I don't know where this is going, and I don't know if I'm invested enough to care because I don't like The Rock. I don't like the Final Boss. I think the thing is weird. He showed up with this fake belt that allegedly Muhammad Ali's wife gave to him. He just won a championship belt. Sure, I don't know. I'm just not that invested in it, honestly.
I have a feeling that somebody, because it's not going to be Cody that's going to turn. I don't believe that. I think Cody's going to turn him down. And I think it's going to reveal itself at WrestleMania. Whoever wins the Elimination Chamber, and we'll give our predictions later on in the show, well, whoever wins the Elimination Chamber is going to be the one that's going to turn and is going to beat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania and then leave with The Rock and TKO now as the corporate champion. Because The Rock was the first corporate champion.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anybody that knows how to play that game, storyline-wise, in the story context, it would be The Rock. And how they did that at Survivor Series 98 when it was a tournament, nobody saw that heel turn coming. Mm-hmm. Nobody. So it's who knows, but it took an interesting turn. Like I said, it was talking about WrestleMania 42. Then he called them a bunch of STD having people. I'm like, what? He called the people in Phoenix crackheads last year. Now people in Louisiana, New Orleans, they got STDs. I mean, what's this obsession with drugs and sexually transmitted diseases? I mean, good grief, man, it's crazy. But they had the press conference, and first of all, Dave LaGreca lost his damn mind when man. And shout out to Dave, shout out to the crew at Busted Open. I always give him a shout out. And it was very confusing because he was like, me and Cody, we had tequila, we had tequila tonight and this and the other. And I was just like, and what Dave LaGreca's, his beef is why are you exposing? I mean, granted,
back that curtain.
Right, the curtain is pulled back. We understand that. But I think to kind of give that suspension of the suspension of disbelief, like, can you kind of leave us guessing a little bit? Like, the thing with this, with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see them hanging out.
Correct.
I don't want to see them talking because, as far as I'm concerned, I think they really do hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
But they've done a great job of being great magicians at not giving away the trick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So for me, it was just really odd that they had the press conference like right after Smackdown, and I was just like, okay, this is going to be something. It's going to be an interesting couple of months on how this is all going to play out. Because again, as we're recording, today's the 25th. And WrestleMania is 7 weeks away or whatever it is. So we have a lot of time, to figure out what's going to happen. Because right now there's only two matches signed for WrestleMania right now. The World Heavyweight Championship match with Gunther and Jey Uso, and the WWE Women's Championship with Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. So we don't know what matches are being signed or anything, so I guess we just have to wait. So we'll tie a bow on SmackDown. Anything else you want to talk about in regards to SmackDown? Something that you saw?
Nah.
Well, we'll definitely move on to Raw. That took place this past Monday night. The first, obviously, they opened up with Logan Paul coming out, and he's insulting the Cincinnati crowd because he's from Cleveland. Typical heel, stuff.
What's interesting with him is that for him to be a YouTuber, like, he cannot connect with the crowd.
There's a difference.
No, I know, I recognize that, but I still think there's like something a lot to be said that no one likes him. And I know that's part of his job as a heel, right? But I genuinely feel like it's not heel heat. It's just genuinely, we don't like you.
I mean, see, I didn't know anything about the Paul brothers until when they started doing the whole boxing thing or what have you. Because I wasn't really into the YouTuber thing. I just wasn't. It's something I just didn't do.
Yeah.
Somebody had made mention about something that had taken place in Japan.
Yeah.
And I think The Rock, believe it or not, had some choice words for those two guys on that specific incident or whatever the case may be. So, and then of course, not to get political or anything like that on the D-Lew podcast, but his choice of guests were not of my liking. Anyways, so I'm just like, okay, well, I definitely don't. You kind of revealed who you are, and I'll leave it at that. But I don't know. It is go away heat. I believe it's go away heat because here's the thing: people say Dominic Mysterio has go away heat. No. Dominic is doing his damnedest as a heel, and he's one of the best heels, not just in the WWE, one of the best heels in the entire business.
And still has a line for his meet and greets. People are still like me, kids still like dress up as him. It's the cutest thing ever. Whereas I feel like if Logan Paul had a meet and greet, you know who would be in that line.
Oh, 100%.
Only them would be in that line.
100%. You hit that right on the money. And listen, I don't give a damn if the ticket was free. I ain't going to meet him. Why?
That's my point. And that's my point, right?
I'd
rather. If you give away a Dom meet and greet for free, then you're going to have like wrapped around the building twice.
Right, because deep down, Dominic is, he's comes from a wrestling family. He understands the business, and that's the thing. See, I think with WWE, they're capitalizing obviously on Logan Paul's appeal with his YouTubers and his social media following. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong, the guy can freaking wrestle.
For sure.
He can wrestle, but. I mean, Punk says some things in that promo because, of course, CM Punk does come out because they're going to meet each other in the Elimination Chamber. But he says something in the lines of, these people deserve better. You know what I mean? Like you talk, you say some things that are just A lot of people just don't like the guy, and next thing you know, he slaps CM Punk in the face, and he just he runs out of the ring. Which I'm like, okay. Get some heat for Saturday because I'm sure there's a receipt that's coming. Shout out to CM Punk that was rocking a Chicago Teachers Union shirt last night, which I thought was hilarious considering a certain someone at WWE who was in attendance in DC a few weeks ago when it came to Department of Education, and I'll leave it at that.
Moving right along.
Yeah, because I'm trying not to get thrown off of Believe Network because I will probably go on a tirade that'll literally probably get me kicked off of social media and Believe Network. So I'll leave it at that. But nonetheless, there was the promo with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins last night. Talk about that and what did that mean to you in regards to the direction that they're going? Because they went deep. I'm not gonna lie.
But that's the beauty of it, right? Is that they do go deep. We all know that real life things matter, as opposed to just like having unrelatable and they're just kind of they give you what you've read, like with the rumors that you've read, and like they kind of make it a thing, right? Because we've all heard the rumors, we've all heard things, and like they bring it up. They bring up the fact that Punk went away. They bring up the fact that Seth is a company man. They bring up all of these things, right? So I can appreciate the realism of their promos. And I think that it shows in delivery. I think it shows that it's like just enough of pulling the curtain. You know what I mean? Like we're not exposing too much, but we're going to give you a little bit. We're going to give you a little bit of what you want.
Right, I agree. And there were some things where Seth told him, he said, "I want to see that guy that came back to face me at WrestleMania 38. I want to see that guy that wrestled me in a Hell in a Cell with a torn pec. I want to see the guy that finished his story last year at WrestleMania." And Seth even got deeper. He said, "Don't make me regret doing what I did to help you last year." I was like, wow. And of course, Cody comes back and said, "You were my shield last year." You know, he said, but I feel like you're judging me right now, and I'm just like, ooh. See, this is what I love, and it wasn't a promo. It wasn't your typical, well, last week, when I got out here and you people boot, like it wasn't none of that. It was two guys having a discussion in a parking lot
Mm-hmm.
because that's exactly what that sounded like. I've been a part of that. I'm sure you have too, with
Mm-hmm.
your friends or whatever the case. When you having some not so much of a disagreement, but I would say a disagreement, and you're
A
trying to come
passionate conversation.
absolutely 100%. I think that's what that was, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. So I feel like where this is going, like I said, it's going to make some fans mad. I think when this all is said and done on what the reveal is going to be, who's going to turn? Because, like I said, right now, it's not going to be Cody. It's not going to be Cody. Well, we're going to tie a bow on that, and we're going to talk about Elimination Chamber. Like I said, it's going to be taking place at the Rock. And by the way, is somebody that is I call myself an adopted Canadian citizen because I love Canada, and I've been to Toronto 3 times. And it was when it opened in 1989. It was called the Sky Dome. And
Mm-hmm.
by the way, I actually took a tour of Sky Dome in 2004. I could tell you a quick story. I took a tour because the baseball season was about to start. I think maybe 5 or 6 days from that time, and the woman was like, "Is there any wrestling fans here?" And I said, "I was the one to raise my hand." She said, "What event took place here in 1990?" I said, "WrestleMania 6." And the woman was like, "Well, I was an usher here at that time, right?" She said, "I saw, I won't mention his name, the red and yellow man and the Ultimate Warrior." She said, "I'll show you a picture." And in the hallway was a picture of the part. I don't know if you remember the match where he was about to miss the leg drop and Warrior was moving. You saw Warrior looking up, ready
Mm-hmm.
to move. It was a perfect shot. And I was just like, oh my God. It was like the wrestling nerd in me was just like, oh my God. And then I've gone to a couple of games there. I went to Yankees, Blue Jays in '09, and I went to Boston, Toronto in 2012. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, man, I'm just thinking about the moments in that stadium for pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And what a lot of people don't even remember is that the WWE did a house show at Skydome in 1999. It was the day before Fully Loaded that was taking place in Buffalo, and they did a surprise title change. And I don't know if you remember, Edge became
Mm-hmm.
the Intercontinental Champion, beating Jeff Jarrett because Ken Shamrock missed the show for some reason. So they said, "Hey, Edge is here. It's his hometown. Let's put him over for tonight." And that's what happened. So they actually did a house show there, and they did a Monday Night Raw there in March 1997. So there's been a lot of history with pro wrestling and the Rogers Center, formerly known as the Sky Dome. So I'm really glad that this is the first time WWE has been back there since WrestleMania 18. That was in 2002. Unbelievable. Well, we have 4 matches that are signed right now, which, again, I don't know what it is with like these small amount of matches. What are your thoughts on that, and what are you thinking? Like, what's their thought process with having just only 4 matches right now? Because with the two, of course, you got the 2 elimination chamber matches, but outside of that, that's it. It's two
I
matches.
think that it works for them. I mean, you have the complete opposite with AEW where they have a 6 hour show, right? And who knows who with that? I can personally appreciate the fact that the Rumble only had the 4 matches. It works for
Yeah,
me. We were in and out, done by like what 10 o'clock. I
that's true. And they're starting earlier now, which is
I can
awesome.
appreciate it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna go right. We're gonna start with the unsanctioned match between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and I gotta tell you, I love what they're doing, building this story. How they had Kevin Owens cutting that promo. He's first of all, the car promos. You gotta love it.
You do.
I mean, Kevin Owens, like this run of Kevin Owens is the best yet. It just seems
Mm-hmm.
like the dude does not miss at all. And he just recently re-signed with WWE, a multi-year deal, so he's going to be there for the long haul. Good for him. Kudos to him. And he cut a promo outside of Sami Zayn's house.
Yes.
Smackdown. Reminded me of Samoa Joe and AJ Styles a few years ago.
Yes.
Hey, Wendy. You know what I mean? So talk about that match, as far as what you think is going to build from there. Are they going to take this to WrestleMania, or you think this is going to be the one and done? Because I have an idea of what I think is going to happen.
They got to go to Mania. But also, I don't see... The problem is that, like, there has been, like, no real build to the road to Mania, and I recognize it is still 7 weeks away. So
right.
they gotta... but still you gotta fill 2 nights worth of cards.
For sure.
I think that this might stretch out to Mania. They have to might run them back. I think it'd be a great Mania match.
This is good. First and foremost, they're marketing it as a unsanctioned match, which I thought was going to be the case. Whenever 2 people want to just rip each other's heads off and they're not going to sign the match, it's going to be. See, what I wish they would have said was a lights out unsanctioned match, but I'm taking you to I'm going back to 1989. Those type of matches, lights out, no rules, unsanctioned, manager bar from ringside, all that type of stuff. And I think Karrion Kross is going to intervene in the match. And I think that'll set up between Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross, because I think this year is going to be the year of Karrion Kross, in my opinion. They're really slow. Because you notice, everything that he touches, he ruins.
Mm-hmm. All the tag teams, yep.
He ruined the Bloodline, the New Day, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Everything that he's basically predicted was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes his journey throughout this whole thing, like, if you look back, it's like, oh, wow. Because he had been after the New Day for a long time, and he finally got to him. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to cost Sami this match or fight or what have you, and that'll set up Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania.
I like it.
All right. Next, we have a tag team match, which puzzles me because I want to piggyback a little bit before we move on to that. I forgot to mention Monday Night Raw. It closed out with the Women's Tag Team Championship match with Bianca Belair and Naomi facing Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And you got that look in your eye. Go ahead.
It was a good match, I can't lie. Wrestling wise, it was great. It was just very anticlimactic to me. And I'm also kind of over the whole Jade thing too. Like, I don't know. We're talking about some on League of Legends last weekend. Like, I feel like the women deserve more than what they're being given these days.
It's getting weird because I don't know. Like, they give them some, but then you take it away.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's where, like, I don't know. Like last night caught me by surprise. But also I'm thinking as well, they both are in the Elimination Chamber. So who's to say? And that's why I brought up this match next at Elimination Chamber with Nia Jax and Candice LeRae against Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus. Again, I love women's wrestling, first and foremost. I do. Mm-hmm. And I have been an advocate for women's wrestling for decades. But for the life of me, I don't understand, besides the fact that it's Trish's hometown and I get it, the significance of this match. Talk to me.
Sure. It's a match. It's going to happen on the card. But also, so it's the same problem we had with the Royal Rumble, is that you get these you have these two big matches. Everything in the middle is kind of just sandwiched in. So it's like we gotta. I hate to say it filler because like y'all know I love women's wrestling. Like that is not what I'm trying to say. But like when you have two like great bookends, it's hard to kind of fill things in the middle. And Trish's hometown, Trish just popped back at the Rumbles. Like I kind of can see it. I just think that it'll be like a good 8-minute match. I guess I don't know.
I'm hoping it's not an 8-minute match because that would be a travesty. Because I think they do deserve better than 8 minutes. I mean, come on now. I mean, you figure it's 4 matches on the card, and if the women get 8 minutes, that's bad business. I don't agree with that. But because in my mind, it should have been the women's tag titles. Well, no, but then again, they got the match. They got the Elimination Chamber match. Yeah, so I get it. I totally get it. But there should have been either another match in addition to this one here, because I don't know. Like the match just like it literally just came out of thin air.
Yeah.
And I just was not trying. I just did not understand like the significance of it. Like, is this going to lead to WrestleMania? I don't know, because again, in my mind, Tiffy's got a deal with Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Is Charlotte Flair going to now? If it's a situation where Charlotte accompanies Candice and Nia to the ring, then you got something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe, just maybe, I mean, can you imagine if there's another Toronto native that's at TNA? Gail Kim.
Never know.
You know what I mean? So that's the part I'm thinking. Well, so there's like a lot of ideas, but it's just again we're trying to brainstorm, but I don't know.
It didn't land with me.
It really didn't, because I'm just like, okay, like that was the first thing I said. I'm
yeah.
Like, all right, I guess, because if you're paying all that money and you're gonna have 50,000 people there, because I think they shrunk the stadium a little bit. Mm-hmm. They redid the seating. I mean, so it's like you're not going to have 60-something thousand people there. It's probably going to be close to like 45,000 or 50,000 something at Skydome. But to only give them 4 matches, I don't know. I hope there's something that happens on Smackdown this Friday that can lead to something for this particular PLE.
Yeah.
But I sure will pick probably the babyfaces winning. I don't know about you. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I haven't thought too much about it. Sure.
Yeah, it's like a pick 'em. It's almost like you can just do a coin flip and all right, cool. Heads or tails. Heads I win, tails you lose. All right, cool. Moving on. All right, so we have the women's Elimination Chamber match, which consists of Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez. This intrigues me because, of course, the winner is going to challenge Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania. And I got to be honest with you. I have my winner, but I also have my surprise winner.
All right, tell me about it.
Okay. So the obvious to me, the money match that I feel that people are going to look forward to, because we've been clamoring for this match at WrestleMania for a long, long time, will be Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. Mm-hmm. We have been talking about this for years. These are women that in their era of NXT, they were the alphas. Mm-hmm. They were the alpha women, and you knew that they were going to be on that potential collision course. I believe it was the Royal Rumble that Bianca won, that they were the last 2 in there. Mm-hmm. When they were both hanging on the side of the ring and everything, like you knew. So to me, I think it's going to be those 2 at WrestleMania. But can you imagine if they go in a totally different direction and they make Roxanne Perez win this Elimination Chamber? That'll be my surprise win, but my main one will be Bianca winning it and challenging Rhea Ripley. Your thoughts?
That's actually kind of where I was going with that as well.
Really?
Yeah, I actually would love for Roxanne to win. I think that it's interesting they keep referring to her as like the underdog and all of these things. Like I think they're kind of setting something up there. And you can strap the rocket on, strap the rocket on her. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Because I mean, if you think about it, in the women, that would be something unprecedented in the women's division where you have both championships, when you got a younger talent and a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because think about it, Tiffany has only been in the business for 3 years
Mm-hmm.
and is the world champion.
For now.
Like, like it or not, like her or not, whatever, like it or not, she's only been in the business for 3 years
Mm-hmm.
and is already on fire. And it's funny because last year it was the Monday after Elimination Chamber last year when they were in Perth, Australia. I called in the Busted Open Radio and I told Mark Henry that Tiffany Stratton's gonna be a babyface, and he was like, "I'm sorry to tell you, she ain't no babyface." A year later, where we at? See, Mark Henry, I told you. I told you. I mean, seriously, like I mean, the fans are behind her, and she can, like, in other words, are there some holes in her game? Sure,
Sure.
but for the most part, I mean, you would think that she's been doing this for 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is how much it all depends on how well you take to the business. I mean, we could talk about the people that have done it the fastest. Kurt Angle, think about that. You know what I mean? Like they said he was ready, like right then and there, because he just took to it very, very well, like fish to water.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that would be an interesting direction. Like I said, if they had Roxanne and Rhea, and of course you have Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton. But I think Bayley and Roxanne at WrestleMania, I think, will be the way to go. And honestly, I think Bayley will probably put her over.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think we're kind of on the same. So you think that Roxanne is going to win it, period, or do you have somebody else in mind?
I mean, I'm with you, Bianca, and then my backup is Roxanne.
Okay, that I'm telling you. See the post. See, I'm looking at that poster right now with Rhea and Bianca. See, I don't want them in a card and all their faces. I want to see their stature. I want to see them looking strong.
Now that I'm thinking about it, though, I wouldn't mind seeing Roxanne win Money in the Bank. So maybe she doesn't. Maybe she goes for that instead. I don't know.
That would be dope because I mean, in that way, it can really keep people on the toe. I mean, think about it. Tiffany was a young was a
Mm-hmm.
young superstar. It was because I make it again. Roxanne's a heel right now,
Yeah.
so I don't know if I think it would be better for her to carry that briefcase and cash in on somebody, but we'll
Mm-hmm.
see. All right, and then we have the last match, which is the second, the men's elimination chamber. Of course, you got the man you can't see, John Cena. That should have been his nickname, but I'm just gonna go there. Weighing 241 pounds, the man you can't see, John Cena. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Damian Priest, and Seth Rollins. Now, the fans were booing when Damian won that match for the qualify, and everyone thought it should have been Jacob Fatu.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in that were you in the majority on that?
The problem with putting Jacob in these matches is that he has to win.
Mm-hmm.
And like he is just such a dominant force that it's hard to put him in these style of matches that are rough and tough for him to lose. That is like so. Yes, I see in theory. Yes, him winning makes sense, but also, excuse me, he can't keep taking these L's. So I don't know. I'm very curious to see how it pans out.
Got to keep him special. Not like I said. I like Jake. I mean, Jake. He is. It's getting to the point now where it's like they're going to have to turn him baby because he is just he's just gaining momentum, momentum, and momentum. And by the
Mm-hmm.
way, when they were walking out to the match while SmackDown the other night, and Solo was talking, and Jacob just
Cut him
interrupted
off.
him. Like the aura, like I said, I like Solo. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong, but Jacob's energy and his aura is just you just can't teach it.
No, you can't.
You can't teach it. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at this because obviously the winner of this match is going to face Cody at WrestleMania, and I got to be honest with you. Hmm. I'm picking my boy Phil, man. Then picking my boy CM Punk to win this, but but I think, and this is just out of plain left field, I can actually see Seth Rollins winning this thing.
Same. I was gonna say I was down to Punk and Seth, honestly.
I can see Seth Rollins winning it, and maybe it's him that goes to the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
I think it could either be Seth or Punk. The problem is there's a lot of Punk's favor lingering. So could he still end up with a Mania card with his favor?
Right.
And Seth won't be taking them L's either. So I don't know, man. I'm just looking forward to watching on Saturday because, this is one of the pay-per-views that I don't have a lot of opinions on. I'm very opinionated, but this time I'm just like, all right.
And that's what they've been doing. But see, the thing is that with a lot of these matches and a lot of these storylines is really having a lot of us guessing, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
Keep us guessing, because we all know under the previous regime, we already knew where things were going. You can kind of see, you can see it from 3 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
It was some of the matches, and you okay, he's definitely winning. Oh yeah, this is definitely happening. So, in my opinion, I think that when it comes to this match, there's so many things that are on the line, and it's going to really set the table for WrestleMania, which again, I absolutely love. Think about it. There's not going to be a pay-per-view or a PLE story. It's really for 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So they have time to cook and prep the meal, prep the table, put the pies in the oven, the whole enchilada, and then when WrestleMania weekend comes, we're going to find out a lot of things, and it's going to be some interesting television leading up to WrestleMania. Well, like I said, this ties the bow on the Elimination Chamber, and for those that haven't subscribed to Peacock, hey, this is not a WWE paid thing. This is just this is the D-Lew podcast telling you if you don't have Peacock, get it and watch this show this weekend. And I believe it's coming on at 6 p.m. Correct?
I think so. Yeah, another early one.
Well, in a couple of weeks when they go over to Europe, the first Raw is going to come on at 3 p.m. Eastern, and the following week is going to come on at 2 Eastern. So, because they're going to do all the Raws live on Netflix.
That's right.
So that is huge.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they got this Netflix deal and they can stream at any time, anywhere from around the world. If, as a matter of fact, even when they go to Saudi, they're going to do Raw in Saudi and don't have to worry about it. And I think that helps them tremendously.
Absolutely.
Where they don't have to rush back to the States and they're all jet lag out of their minds. And then now they can actually do the show, relax, and fly back. And it's much, much easier on the talent and everybody else involved, production and the whole nine. Well, of course, before we get out of here, let the people know where they can find your podcast, your social media, and really tell the people about, because I got to tell you, Lip Gloss and Ladders, her and her girls are doing, I'll put you this way. If you ever saw Living Single, I'm serious now. This is pro wrestling podcast version of Living Single. You know what I mean? You could pick who Maxine is, who Sinclair is, who Khadijah is, and who Regine is. So I'm a Living Single fan. The fact that I can name all the characters.
There you go.
I had the biggest crush on Kim Fields going back to when she was on Facts of Life. But
good old Tootie.
Absolutely. But if you want to get that type of vibe when they talk about wrestling, and oh, by the way, there's a topic on not this recent episode, but the previous episode, there was a topic on there that it really forces people to really question their how do I put this, their sanity when it comes to being a
Yeah.
fan of pro wrestling. And I'm not going to spoil it, but I'll let her tell you more about their show, what it is that they talk about, and where you can find it in their social media as well.
Perfect. You guys can find us at Lip Gloss and Ladders on all social media. Lip Gloss Ladders on X or Twitter, whatever it is you want to call it, where we talk about women's wrestling. Wrestling in general. We are four women talking about wrestling. We come out every Monday. You can find me specifically at Hi Gabrielle, HiiGabrielle, on all social media. I like to dabble with everything. I like women's sports. I like wrestling. If you're into sports, I'm your girl. Let's talk.
Absolutely, and her YouTube channel is blowing up, guys. And like I said, she's been really going in a different direction, not just with pro wrestling, but she has been talking about women's sports, especially the WNBA and the rise that they're on right now. And I'm hoping that opportunities comes her way in getting credentials to go to cover some of these sporting events, because in my opinion, I think there's people like her that works really hard and building her brand, the Hi Gabrielle brand, and really taking it to the next level. And like I said, when I'm on the road, I was just on the road recently and I listened to Lip Gloss and Ladders, and let me tell you something, I was in my car, I was literally driving, just like I couldn't stop laughing because there was that one topic they were talking about that, and I was just like, and I saw what they were talking about on social media, I think within maybe a day or two before that, and I'm just like, oh my god. And it was true. But yeah, you're gonna enjoy it, I guarantee you. And make sure you tap in with them. And like I said, it keeps going on and on, especially here at the D-Lew podcast as well.
Thank you.
Well, that does it for this week's edition of the D-Lew podcast. Once again, I want to thank Gabi for all of her contributions, what she continues to do for the D-Lew podcast. And like I said, make sure you're following her on all of her social media and subscribe to her YouTube channel as well. Speaking of subscribing, subscribe to the D-Lew podcast on all platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and my YouTube channel. So you not only get the D-Lew podcast on my YouTube channel, video and audio, but you also get to hear and see my music videos that I've put out over the last couple of years, and also a lot of my actor reels, all of my actor content that I've done over the last 15 years as well. Social media. If you can follow the D-Lew podcast at the D-Lew podcast on all social media platforms. You can follow me on social media as well at The Real DT Lew, with the exception of Facebook, which is Derrick T. Lewis official page. You can hit up my stores. I have two of them. Pro Wrestling Tees, pwt.derricklewis.com. And also you can get all of your Siete music and D-Lew podcast merchandise over at shop.derricklewis.com. Well, I'm going to get out of here. And as I always say, no matter what it is you do in life, always remember to make it count. See you next time.